Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. You know, when Apple moved away from the MagSafe adapters for MacBooks a few years ago, people were really upset. They liked the MagSafe adapters. Somebody could trip over the cable, or you could walk away with your MacBook and it was still plugged in and it would just break away painlessly, right? You wouldn't do any damage to the cable or the adapter or your MacBook. Apple probably moved away from that because people didn't like that it was proprietary. You had to buy the adapter from Apple. There were third-party ones, but they were never very good quality. So going to USB-C was a good move because now it's a standard and you can get good USB power from other devices and things like that. But if you want to go back to MagSafe, you can actually get these adapters. They fit into the USB-C ports on your MacBook, and then the cable on the other end also has a magnet on it. So you can get some of that convenience of having a magnetic connector for power back. Now, a lot of these products, when you take a look at them on Amazon, you seem to see the same thing over and over again. The same product with different names for it from different companies. That's because a lot of them are probably produced in the same factories and then they're just branded differently. So I went through and I saw what some of the most popular ones were, and I tried to eliminate ones that seemed to be the same as other ones, and I came up with three that I wanted to test out. So I ordered all three, and I want to add I paid for these with my own money and I'm not getting any money from any of these companies. I just wanted to go and kind of look at them, see which ones were best, and do a video to show you in case you're interested in buying one of these. Maybe it helps you in your buying decision or at least gives you a head start while doing some research. So the first one I looked at was one that kind of has a generic name and I'm going to call it the UpMeli one, and that's what's printed here on the device. And this one was selling at Amazon for about 27 bucks. Had a decent number of customer reviews. Tons of ones look like this on Amazon. I also looked at one called ElectJet, the MagJet connector. This one's a little bit cheaper and has 260 reviews, so a lot of people were getting this one as well. And then I noticed out of all the names, one old name here, Griffin's been making stuff for a long time, and they have one here that I wanted to grab, and this was selling for less than 20 bucks at Amazon and had 229 reviews. So I grabbed these three. So you can see the packaging is very different for all of these. So the first one here it looks like a jewelry box. Very simple. And this is the UpMeli one. So really basic packaging there. And the second one, the ElectJet MagJet, it comes in a plastic bag, but in there is a carrying case. So you get a carrying case with this to carry the cable in. And then the Griffin one comes in a real box, like one you might find in a retail store. So let's start by looking at the UpMeli one, and we open it up and there's really nothing inside except a little plastic bag with the two pieces in it. So this is the only one that doesn't come with a cable. Now this design, you could find like a dozen of these on Amazon that basically look the same. They look just about like the same kind of two pieces here. I bought the one that just had the most reviews, and there's the two halves there, and you have to connect your USB-C cable to that, so you have to use your existing cable. And then the other part goes inside of your MacBook. Now if we take a look at the ElectJet one, so we'll get rid of the bag here and then take a look at what's in the case. You can see that it's a nice little carrying case. It looks a lot like the ones you get with camera lenses for the iPhone, things like that. So you could use this definitely to carry your USB-C cable, which is nice, a little extra. And then there's a bag in there that is going to be the cable and the part that goes into your MacBook. So the cable's a lot thinner than the normal cable, and here's the part which is really small and it fits in pretty well. That's a pretty small piece that goes into your MacBook. So let's take a look now at the Griffin box and open that up. it's a much thicker, more substantial cable, and the end is also much larger. It's also got a very strong magnet. So definitely it seems like higher quality than the other two right off the bat. So let's actually use the UpMeli one with my MacBook Pro. So I'm going to take the entire thing and I'm going to insert it in. I think that's the way you work with all of these, is you insert it in with it attached magnetically to the other end and push that one in. Goes in easily enough, and now I've got it connected. So that's how it fits in there. And I'm going to have to use my regular cable with this. So let's attach my regular cable to it and put that in. This is an advantage of using this one actually, is you still have your regular cable with you that you can still plug in if something should happen to the magnetic one. So it works. It works pretty well, and I believe it's reversible as well. Now you can see here it doesn't always snap right into place like the MagSafe kind of always did. But it's pretty obvious when it's not connected. And it pulls right out with your fingers, which is great because I've heard some of these you have to use pliers or something to get them out. Now let's look at the ElectJet one, and this one has its own cable. So I'm going to insert the whole thing together in there and then break it apart magnetically. And it seems to work pretty well. A much weaker magnetic connection. Maybe not much, but definitely a little bit weaker. And it will also do the thing where it kind of, you can get it partially in and it's not really connected like that. But it's pretty obvious when it's not, but it's just not like the MagSafe. This is also reversible as well. The cable's definitely a lot thinner than my cable that came with my MacBook. And now let's take a look at the Griffin here. More substantial cable, but much larger part that goes inside. Sticks out way further. But I think that's the use case for this one. Isn't to actually have the thing plugged in all the time, but to actually have the two halves magnetically attached all the time, plug it in, and it just protects you in case somebody trips over the cable. And it isn't reversible. You can't attach it both ways. The magnets actually won't let you attach it the wrong way. So that makes this one a little bit different. So if we compare the Griffin to the ElectJet, you can see there's no comparison in terms of how far one sticks out. If you're concerned about how far it sticks out, that's a lot. Now if I put in the first one, you can see that that one sticks out a little bit more, but not much. They're both pretty comparable to how far they extend from the body of the MacBook. So here's a little chart I made comparing them. So the UpMeli, it doesn't include a cable, but that may not be a bad thing because having your original cable with you might be a good idea. Gives you another option. The magnetic strength is pretty good. It doesn't extend too far. It's reversible, and by removable I mean it's easy to remove the magnetic part that's inside of your MacBook. They all are there, so they all match there. The MagJet had kind of a weak magnetic strength, but it wins out as far as how far it extends. Matter of fact, with a case that I have on my MacBook, it barely extends past that. So it's probably going to be the one I'm going to be trying to use on a regular basis and see how it goes. The Griffin is definitely meant to be used as just a regular cable that has the added benefit of being able to break apart if somebody were to trip over the cable or something. And that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that could always be inserted in and kept in the MacBook. And I think that's what a lot of other people are looking for too. So they each have kind of an upside to them. And as I said, the Griffin's kind of its own thing, but the other two, you could find ones that look just like them, especially the UpMeli one. You could find ones that are obviously the same product, made in the same factory, distributed by different companies online. So I just picked these three because they had the most reviews on Amazon, so it seemed to be the ones that most people were looking at when wanting to buy one of these.